Hello everyone. This video is probably long overdue, but I wanted to talk to you about what's happening with ADAP and AISH and what we can discern from this whole program so far. I had a friend when I was younger that would lie about absolutely everything. And I always knew she was lying because it never really made sense. Anything she would lie about would just not pass the mustard. So I said to her, just tell me the truth, and then we'll go from there. And when she did tell me the truth, I'd say, oh, well, that makes sense. Why didn't you just tell me that? I can completely understand. The reason she didn't tell the truth is because she was abused when she was younger, and whenever she told the truth, she was demeaned for it. So she was trained to lie out of self-preservation. Now, Danielle Smith doesn't lie out of self-preservation. She lies for advancement of herself and individuals around her. So it's become painfully obvious, at least in my opinion, that this ADAP issue is about corruption. It's about providing contracts to the friends of the UCP. And I fear there's kickbacks, but I can't say that for legal reasons, but that's just my opinion. There's no reasonable explanation for why AISH was changed. And so just like my friend that would always lie to me and it would never make any sense, Danielle Smith has been lying to us and Jason Nixon has been lying to us, and we know it doesn't make sense. When somebody's lying to you about your income, your stability, your welfare, of course that's going to generate a lot of fear. But I hope that the disabled community isn't fearful, because this too shall pass. A corrupt government like the UCP cannot last forever. And, with this recent referendum, I read through the questions. It's extremely bigoted. That referendum looks like it was put together by members of, the KKK or some other racist organization. And the thing is, problems like this start, deep racism starts with identifying people as the other, as not deserving equal benefit. You belong to a land, you belong to a country, so therefore you're privileged. And the problem with privilege is it makes people small. And in the end, things like prejudice and bigotry just absolutely destroy regions. And we can see that in the southern United States, where the red states live in poverty, they live in ignorance, and of course their racism is deeply entrenched. These problems come from poverty, and the rich people want people in poverty. They want people fighting among themselves. They want people saying, oh, it's your fault. And governments that point fingers at the vulnerable and say it's their fault are really doing society a disservice. Because while the people at the bottom are getting hurt, if you can't defend the vulnerable, you can't defend anybody. I think it was Pastor, I'm not saying this name right, it's Niedermeyer, said, first they came for the communists and then they came for the, you know how that poem goes. And that's what's happening in Alberta. And I know Danielle Smith doesn't like being called a Nazi, but this latest referendum, boy, it smacks of 1933 Germany. So again, I've covered two topics today. I only meant to cover one. Why is the UCP doing the ADAP thing? In my opinion, it's all about the kickbacks. And hiring a company like Serco, which has ties to military contractors and has convictions for corruption in the United Kingdom, really indicates what's happening. It's legalized corruption, which is what we're seeing going on in Washington and the United States right now. And if the people are not educated, and I'm sad to say that much of Alberta is ignorant, I hate to say that. This is the province I grew up in, the province I love. We were the original people here. Well, not the original, not the indigenous. I apologize for that comment. We were the first settlers, and we did good by the indigenous community. We treated people fairly. We were a very moral family. We've done our best to build good communities and be upstanding citizens. And I love this province, but it really drives me crazy that some people feel the world crushing down on them and they can't correctly identify the cause. So they're given scapegoats by the people who are actually the cause, the ultra wealthy, the people that try to promote the prosperity gospel, the people who will point to others and say the other is to blame. You know, and I want you to understand the term the other. That's a very important word or term or definition to understand. You know, the other is about scapegoating people that have nothing to do with the problems in society. They're just the horse you whip, the beast that takes more of the burden, simply to accommodate people's fears and misunderstanding of the nature of the world. I'm freestyling today. Don't have a rehearsed speech, so some of what I said may not make a lot of sense. I hope you can translate into your language, which is probably a language of common sense. So, everyone, take care. If you need to know more about this, just leave questions under the YouTube video, which is where I'll be posting this. And I hope to make more videos in the future now that I'm feeling a little better. And I hope they offer something to you. Take care, everyone. And again, do not let this party push you into depression, push you over the edge, make you feel fearful. We are the best people in society because empathy is crafted through suffering, and empathy is the best of all human emotions. So know that you're a noble person, and even though you struggle, you're struggling against a government that's not going to be there forever, because eventually the people wake up and they demand justice. Take care. Again, take care. Bye-bye.